channel. I'm Alexis, aka The Soft Reader, and I'm here today to do my February book haul. As for this haul, this is actually a pretty small book haul. I think this is probably the smallest book haul I've had in many months. So let's just go ahead and knock it out. I'll start with my book of the month pick for the month of February. My pick for the month of February was An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. And this follows a young black newlywed couple who very early into their marriage, the husband is actually arrested and sentenced to 12 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And so he gets into jail, and 5 years later his conviction is actually overturned and he's released from prison. And it's basically about them coming together after being apart for 5 years, after, you know, their marriage was really destroyed after such a little bit of time together, and they basically try to fix what has been destroyed in those 5 years. And it's about them struggling with what happened and how to move forward, and them deciding whether or not they want to move forward, or whether it's just better to let it all lie. This is not my usual type of book. I don't typically tend to reach for books that deal with marriage, but I've heard so many incredible things about this from people that, like, when I saw it pop up on the page, I knew I just had to get it. So yeah, that's An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. And then I picked up a second pick for my February box, and it was a book that so many people were talking about that I decided that even though I wasn't crazy about this author's first novel, I would go ahead and give the second one a try, and that is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I did not love Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng as much as I know many other people did, but I've heard so many people raving about this one that I thought it would be foolish on my part not to give Celeste Ng another try. And I know that this recently got announced it was going to be made into a movie. So this is actually about a small town called Shaker Heights, and in it there is like an all-American family, and then there is like a new woman who moves into like their garage or something, or she moves in next door. And all I really know about the plot is it's about them getting into a situation when I believe the young woman adopts a Chinese baby, and it's about like the two moms, like the young woman and then also the mom of this family, being pitted against one another over this Chinese American baby, and like secrets of their past coming out and stuff. Yeah, like I said, I would be very shocked if you hadn't heard somebody talk about this one, because people have been going crazy about it, so I decided to pick it up and give it a shot. The next one on my list is a January release that I just didn't get to pick up in January, so I went ahead and picked it up this month in February, and that is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. And by the way, I hate the way this cover feels. Like, I feel like I have to wash my hands after I handle this cover because the texture of it, if any of you own the physical copy of this, I hate the texture of this cover. Genuinely, like, oh, I don't even want to touch it. I hate the way it feels. It's like, if any of you have ever done any like crafting, you know those ribbons that, like, if you run your scissors across them, they'll curl up and they're like that plasticky feel? That's what this feels like, but like 90 times that, because it's like bigger. And oh my god, I hate the way this cover feels. I'm sorry, like, I've been like sitting on that, like waiting to talk about how much I hate the feeling of this cover. I think it's a pretty cover. I just whatever this material is, I really don't like. This basically follows our main character, Odessa, who is actually a necromancer in her kingdom, and it's basically her job to like keep the raised dead from becoming like zombie-like creatures by like fixing their souls or something like that. And then when a bunch of zombie-like creatures basically show up, she discovers there's some sort of conspiracy going on in her kingdom. I'm gonna be honest, this book is about a bisexual necromancer, and that is all I needed to know to sell me on it. I'm pretty sure she has on-page relationships with both men and women. That's pretty much all I needed to know. I was like, cool, I'm gonna pick it up and read it. And I've been hearing some really good things about it, so yeah, I went ahead and picked this one up. The next three I got because I believe it was Barnes & Noble's was having a buy two get the third free sale on popular paperbacks, so I went ahead and picked up some paperbacks. The first one I get was actually the Man Booker Prize winner in 2017, and that is Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. And what I understand, because I know that this book is very uniquely told, but I believe this is about a year into the Civil War after Abraham Lincoln's son dies, and it's basically following like the grief of the family but also like the grief of the country, and it's told by like over like 100 and something characters, because there's like the normal story and then like there's a bunch of ghosts basically interjecting like different parts into the story. So I know it's like very uniquely told in that way. Obviously it was the Man Booker Prize winner, but I've had my eye on this book for a little bit longer than that, because Colin Malloy, who is the lead singer of the Decemberists, if you guys don't know, the Decemberists is my favorite band. Colin Malloy read this book like this time last year and he loved it, and he was telling everybody on Instagram to get it. So I've been basically patiently waiting until I could pick up a copy of this, like because of that reason. But yeah, I mean, it's a, like, you should read it apparently because it's a literary prize winner. But I did want to go ahead and pick this one up. And I also picked up The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And this basically follows our main character, Vasilisa, who lives in like a house, I believe, in the woods with her father and her siblings. And they're told fairy tales, basically. They all share Russian fairy tales with one another. And our main character very, very strongly loves them. And one day her father brings in a new wife. And this wife like forbids them from honoring like the old gods. And so Vasilisa worries that that might have repercussions, and so we're basically following our story as there are repercussions as basically stuff starts happening, and I believe our main character, you know, has to do something about a danger looming over her town and her family. So many of my friends have loved this book, have rated it very, very highly. And for that reason, I definitely wanted to check it out. And then last one I picked up in that sale was one of my top books to read in 2018 that I didn't have a physical copy of. So I just said, what the hell? And I picked it up, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I do have a copy of this on my Kindle, but it was on sale and I wanted to buy a third one. I wanted to buy two to get a third free, so I went ahead and picked this one up. And it's funny because I never picked this one up because I, for some reason, got it in my head that the font was really tiny in this. And so I was kind of nervous when I picked it up, like after it got shipped to me, obviously. And the font's not that tiny. I don't know where I got that from. It's like really normal sized font for a paperback. This basically follows our main character, Darrow, who is basically part of a slave class called the Reds, on like a futuristic colony on Mars. And Darrow has known oppression and hardship his entire life, and one day he discovers that he has something in common with like the leading class of people in this society, and so he like infiltrates them. I don't know, people love this. This is very well loved, and I haven't read it yet. I want to read it sometime this year. Sometime soon, now that I have a physical copy. So yeah, I went ahead and picked this one up. And the last book I got, I went ahead and added into the order I made from Barnes & Nobles, I think to get free shipping. But it was a January release I really wanted to pick up and just hadn't gotten to, so that was the perfect time to get it. And that was Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn. This basically follows our main character, Alice, who is Black. She's also biromantic, asexual. And it basically follows her as she's getting out of a relationship with her girlfriend Margot, basically because of her being asexual, and her girlfriend like doesn't really understand that. And so it's about Alice being broken up with, and then her meeting this adorably cute guy named Takumi at the library where she works, and it's about her feeling things for Takumi but being scared about entering another relationship after breaking up with Margot. And yeah. So this one has been getting a lot of love, and I obviously wanted to pick this one up for the rep and for how beautiful this cover is. I'm actually reading this one currently, so you'll hear my thoughts on it in March, because I didn't finish it before February ended. So there's that. Alrighty guys, so those were all of the books I bought in February. I would absolutely love to know your thoughts on any of these books, or I'd also like to know what was your favorite purchase you got in the month of February. If you like what I do, upload videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and now on Saturdays instead of Fridays, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!